Dave, we're returning from the international break. How's the last 2 weeks been, and what's the focus been during that period?
Obviously, very frustrating time straight after the game for the result against Motherwell, and then a lot of the boys go away on international duty, so they all depart and go their own ways. So the ones that was left over, it was an opportunity for us to get a lot of time on the grass and work on the areas in which we know we needed to improve, which is the basics in both boxes. When you look at the performance level against Motherwell, I said a few times that the actual performance itself in isolation for large parts of it was good, but there was that other bit that's missing, and if we don't put it all together, the most important thing is the result at the end of the day, and that's the bit that's been missing.
Yeah, you had a bounce game as well. How important is that to work on things that you wanted to improve, especially obviously both boxes?
Yeah, it's great for a number of reasons. One, you've got players coming back from injury, so to get them actual competitive minutes against, we played St Johnstone actually, so to get actual competitive minutes, you can't reenact that in training to the same level as you do when you have an opponent from a different team, so that was good. Players coming back get to do that. As you've already touched on, the things we can do in the week to try and see them coming out in the game, and the game went well from a point of view, competitive minutes into boys, and seeing positives within that.
Yeah, and obviously it allowed you extra time, like you said, to get players back. How is Joe Newell? How's Martin Boyle as they've obviously had surgery recently?
Yeah, they've both been back training the whole time, which is great. Getting stronger all the time. The break for them probably comes at a good time, as much as I would want games to keep coming all the time. The fact that they've only missed a couple because of the timing of it, the international breaks, gives them a chance to not miss as many fixtures, but they've got the chance now for the last 2 weeks to be back with the group and training all the time, and they come into contention for the weekend, which is a real positive.
Yeah, you've obviously had to deal with players returning late as well. Some have been on the other side of the world. How much is there to consider when you're going through kind of team selection, looking at the squad ahead of the weekend?
It's difficult. It's very difficult because you're watching the games closely as well to see how the boys get on, how many minutes do they play, when do they arrive back, the different time zones, like Millsy for example being over in Australia, and then you've got Nathan Mariah in South America, so like the difference in time when they get back, how much recovery they've had, how many minutes they've had. Some boys have went all the way around the other side of the world and not played, so have they done enough in training throughout that process? At the same time, all the things we're working on whilst we're back here when they're away is all geared towards trying to get better and looking towards Dundee United, so how much of that can the players who've missed it catch up on the things we've done? So it is a balance, trying to work all that out. The best thing is getting them back, and the good thing is they've all came back safely, and it's about getting them recovered as quickly as they can and making sure they're all in a good enough place for tomorrow.
Yeah, let's talk about Dundee United then. What do you expect from them? They've had a really good start to the season, haven't they?
Yeah, a real strong start. Listen, they're hard to beat, you can see that already, the way Jim sets his team up. They'll be very aggressive, hard working, and I think they're off the back of success last season, so they've started the season really well, and credit to them for that, for starting the season as well as they have, being a newly promoted side. But the full focus is on us going up there, knowing what we need to do to try to get 3 points, because as I say, the performance level have been improving, but it doesn't matter if we're not getting the result at the end of it, so we need to make sure we put it all together tomorrow and come back down the road with the right result.
Yeah, there'll be a big voice behind you as well. I think there's almost 2,500 Hibs fans travelling to Tannadice, which would be great, obviously, to give the lads that backing.
100%. And they always travel well there in their numbers. It really adds to, it really helps the players. Having that voice behind you and support really spurs you on. And but the players and myself need to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to make sure they go home with something to sing about.
Just finally, in terms of team news, we mentioned Joe and Boyle. Anyone else could be back, or will there be anyone else missing out?
Everybody's back. Pretty much the only one that would miss out would be Nicky. Unfortunately, in his return to play training, he picked up a slight niggle again, so it just put him back another week or so, and we're not going to take a risk with that one at this stage. But everybody else should be back, which is really positive and healthy for the group.
Excellent. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.